It is September 16th, 2019. This is Atlanta United FC Weekly, a Home Before Dark podcast.
Oh, there it is.
Chugga, 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 choo, choo. Thank you guys for tuning in on this Monday evening. We are back after a couple-week break between Labor Day, international break.
Oh, it's
yeah,
you.
it's
Okay.
me. It's me for once.
Oh,
I'm the one doing the noises on my microphone.
Oh, for once. I get it. Okay.
Yeah, we just had a lot
Cool
of stuff.
guy.
Yeah, just a lot of stuff going on the past couple weeks, and things didn't line up that great. But we're back and better than ever.
You got a show in last week, though.
Yeah, I did. For those of you who don't know, I joined Mouths of the South on the radio show on Atlanta Sports X.
Yeah.
It was interesting walking in and Matt Chernoff walks by me.
How was it? How was the
It was good.
experience?
It was great. I really do enjoy recording with Eric. That was my first time recording with Sam. It was a good time.
Yeah. How was it? How did the experience differ from doing our show? Because the content was pretty much the same.
Yeah, it was the exact opposite. No, it wasn't the exact opposite. It was the same. I mean, there were times, I guess, once or twice that I had to tell myself, don't swear.
Yeah.
I'm on the radio.
To that point, Clayton Poss, no Home Before Dark radio show coming soon for that reason.
Yeah, it's probably not in any advertisers or any radio station's best interest given FCC fines. But Eric was like, he was really cool, but he's like, if you have to swear, it's okay. If you accidentally do, we have a 20-second delay. He can always beep you.
Do you have to do like the promotional cuts or whatever? Like you have to cut for commercial and all that. How did that work with the flow of conversation?
Oh, dude, we went over. We went over and we ended up only having like 2 minutes left at the end of the show.
Really?
So we had 2 like 5-minute commercial breaks. And
oh my God.
Yeah, we were supposed to stop at one point.
5 minutes of commercials? Is that normal?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Especially like with an hour show to do.
How long it's been since I've listened to
2 5-minute breaks.
Yeah,
I think is what it ended up being.
That makes sense.
I was really nervous because we had trying to restore the chat on my computer. There we go. It wasn't given to me to see all the homies in here. I could see it on your iPad, but I couldn't see it on here.
That's weird.
It is weird. We got
a new face in the trap. The Ginger Beard Man
Beard Man. Yeah. We got Carl Seggy, the Geordie down in Atlanta, 6-second referee, I think his 6-second ref. Richard Gordon, Clayton Poss, the Ginger Beard Man, Will Bowron, the sparkling, the spiked seltzer master, Will Bowron.
Yeah.
Elliot Beaven, Gabriel Lajas, Gabe. I don't know why I called you Gabriel because it's showing up like that. Brian, Chiefs coach Steve, and Michelle.
Brian has a good point. You have a communications degree. How does, I don't even know if it gets brought up, how does all of the advertising work in radio? You
have a whole sales team. So it's interesting.
You sell spots to.
Yeah. Well, so my whole thing out of college. So I did get a degree in broadcast journalism. I'm sure it's probably not hard. It's probably hard to tell that's what my degree
journalism, is. Communication. What did I say?
Yeah, it was mass communication with a focus in broadcast journalism. And I realized I definitely didn't want to do TV after doing those.
You don't have the face for it.
No. I mean, my family told me my whole life that I have a face for radio. So, but like that's an old trope. Anyway, so I get out of college. I'm in Florence, South Carolina. There's not a whole lot of opportunity there. One spot opens to sell ads
for journalism.
Yeah, to be a salesperson at Miller Broadcasting radio station in Florence. So I go and I interview with this lady, and I'm like, I see this as a foot in the door. She's like, no. She's like, it's not a foot in the door because we have 2 completely separate teams that do not go back and forth between one another. We have a team that sells. We have a team that broadcasts.
That's cool of her to sort of draw that line and make that statement out the gate so it wasn't confusing for you long term.
No, absolutely. And I ended up getting a job with them where I ran commercials.
Yeah.
Mostly I sat and monitored remote broadcasts. I did broadcasts that I produced some remote broadcasts in at a Groucho's Deli in McLeod Hospital in Florence. But yeah, I mean it's mostly that. I mean, you have a whole sales team that sells 30-second spots, 15-second spots, 60-second spots, not unlike how the podcast industry works. But instead of a radio station selling those spots, like now agencies pick up podcasts to go and represent.
We need to do that. We need to. So Brian mentioned this episode of Home Before Dark is brought to you by Arby's Beef and Cheddar. We need to just start cutting random adverts that we make up for just random stuff.
Are you saying advert to like make up for the fact that we don't know where Dan James is? Or are you calling them adverts?
Basically.
You're putting that on the schedule?
I miss Dan.
I miss Dan too. I miss Dan a lot. I'm sure you guys do too.
Yeah.
It's tough.
It's a bummer.
But yeah, it was fun. Again, big shout out to Eric and Sam for bringing me on. Probably won't be the last time. I know we still got to get, you know, they want to get you over there at some point.
They got what they wanted. They got what they were after. You don't have to say that for my ego.
No, I don't think
they got what they were after.
All I know is
okay. So Dan hasn't really been on much. Nobody's going to understand his accent anyway, except for Michelle, who already listens to their regular show anyway. So check that box. Kevin's going to be tied up most likely. So we go straight to the source. You know, Tim's free. That's what we want. Got it.
Yeah, I think that is how it went down. I really can't.
It's the Charlie from It's Always Sunny.
I can't confirm or deny that. Yeah.
Drawing strings.
White Claws, Trulies. Wasn't there a White Claw shortage at one point?
It was trying times.
Is there still?
I don't know,
dude. I saw
probably with the DeKalb water boil advisory ongoing. I know my house is in a current shortage as a result.
I saw Payson. I saw Payson talking about how, you know, can somebody confirm that I'm not going to die, or maybe this is why my stomach is gurgly because I forgot about the non-potable water warning. And mango. So see, Will is saying again, our Spike Seltzer correspondent Will Bauer saying that he can confirm that there's a mango shortage, mango in a shortage. Or are you saying mango is the only one available? Because I went to the Speedway down the way from me, and that was the only one available. Yeah, was a mango.
Shit, you probably should have bought that and eBayed it,
dude. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea. Start treating this like Furbies and Nintendo Wii's.
Yeah, exactly. Just stock up.
That's interesting. That's a good business model. It is the last holdout location. If you need the mango plug, that sounds weird. Mango plug.
After dark.
I can get back to you. And Brian saying the boil advisory has been lifted.
Oh, it has. I didn't realize that. Is it everywhere? So where were you when that? But no. Whenever that happened, I guess it was Saturday. Or maybe it was Friday night. That storm.
Oh, yeah, because you're in DeKalb, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that storm came through, and I started looking to see if it had an earthquake, because I guess whenever the power plant, or not the power plant, but the water plant went out and all the pumps and stuff messed up, it sent out this reverberating, like my pipes in my house were shaking. And I thought that I was having an earthquake, like there was an earthquake or something going on. But I guess it was just that downtime for the pumps and then kicking back on, and it just shook everything down the line.
How much clay was in your in your bath?
Oh, it's been disgusting. Every shower I go to take, it's just
yeah. Coach Steve says he's never had a White Claw. Somebody fix that for that man. I obviously can't. So Angie took me, like, before we get into soccer talk, I know everybody, hopefully we'll get a little bit of like easing in, a little comfortable conversation before we start.
It's been a while. We can't just jump right in.
Angie surprised me and took me, because I don't drink. For those new listeners, I don't partake in alcohol, but I really do like kombucha.
Yeah.
And Angie took me to, there's a kombucha bar down on the West End in the strip of breweries. I forgot what it says, like Atlanta Brewery Row or whatever it is, next to Monday Night Brewing, which Monday Night Garage, these glasses that we're drinking out of. And they just have kombucha on tap. You can get flights of it, and it's freaking delicious.
That's cool.
It's very good and good for you. Yeah, let's talk about that Atlanta United U.S. Open Cup win. That's what Elliot says. That's what
I'd rather talk about that.
Okay, full disclosure, Kevin and I did not go to the game on Saturday. I was at a wedding, and then Kevin's been moving or dealing with a move now.
Yeah, I was refinishing cabinets and painting cabinets and half watching.
Call
half
us plastic,
listening.
call us what you will. I know I've heard it all. The whole who schedules a wedding on Saturday in the Southeast. Two people from Chicago who are very good friends of ours. Shout out to Katrina and Zach. Congratulations on getting married.
It was really good for me because I had 4 hours of entertainment between the Clemson game and the United game. So this is back to back.
Yeah, you're talking about the 4 hours it took to watch the Clemson game, because the 2 hours of the Atlanta United game, or maybe it was like 3 hours and 40 minutes of Clemson, the first 20 minutes of Atlanta United.
Yeah, it really was a 5 hour stretch. I didn't, because it started at 7 and I was finishing up around midnight. And that was when the Clemson game was ending.
So we have two comments in the trap right now that I will go ahead and preface by saying I am not trying to swerve talking about this. I just don't have any frame of reference to this, and it'd be better served to throw it up to the people in the trap to discuss this. Carl Segi asking, he said, fellas, I wasn't at the match this weekend as I'm in Vegas for quote unquote work, but I would like to know how the atmosphere was at the match due to the planned protest. JG saying something, a new face in the trap, I believe. JG saying, haven't watched or listened to any Atlanta United news since that loss. What's the take from the protest? It looked a little ugly on Twitter before the game.
Yeah, that's the only impression that I have of it, is that it seemed to tear the fan base into two factions.
Well, yeah, I mean, the lead up to it a couple days prior, the Reddit mods had to come out and say I can't remember the exact verbiage that the guy or girl used that said, the mod said something to the effect of, since neither side can discuss this civilly, I'm gonna have to shut this down. Because posts were starting and discussions were starting. It seemed like it was okay back and forth. And Domer, I think, did a great job of posting too. I have no idea what side he was on because of the way he posted. He said, I think there was like a text hotline set up for people who were feeling unsafe at the game or anything like that, essentially saying, protest or not, you should be, you should feel safe at the game. You should feel safe to do what you please on either side of the aisle. And there was a short code to text if, to text safe, I think, to let them know whether or not you were being made to feel uncomfortable or molested, as it were. Yeah. So I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. It's...
Michelle says it became really political and dramatic between SG's Will Balron saying internet was ugly before and after.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, my only supporter section seemed just as loud or louder, or me seems just as loud to me or louder. Didn't really notice anything different, says Richard Gordon.
Yeah. And then Coach Steve.
And that's what I kind of expected. And I think that's the right course of action, is that if everybody wants to be united in that front, that's great, but that the organizers of doing a silent protest can certainly do so. And if others want to continue to cheer and show their support in an alternative manner, that also plays out. So in my opinion, that's a win-win. Nobody is prohibiting or discouraging either party from continuing to do so or to show fan support in the way that they deem necessary. So
yeah, Michelle was saying it seemed counterproductive, as did Coach Steve, but then she also said it was strange without the capo, because the capo for Resurgence wasn't there for the first 15 minutes. I wish I could have somehow been in two places at once on Saturday and been to both, even though we did lose. I mean, I never not want to be there. And that brings up another point that we'll talk about later in terms of people leaving the stadium early.
What?
Okay, we'll talk about that later. Yeah. It ended up being this thing with a couple people on Twitter with... Can
I just say that the past few weeks I've been so fucking busy outside of... And it sucks. It's my outside of doing the show, my experience or engagement with anything has been very limited on social media, on any accounts. And it's been a real bummer not having recorded in, I guess, is the third week.
It's been 3 weeks. Yeah, we took 2 episodes off. Yeah.
So it's been 3 weeks since we've recorded. And it's been a real bummer not having that as part of my weekly routine and schedule, because it's something that I look forward to every week. But at the same time, part of doing the show and being engaged with everybody means engaging more in social media and stuff like that. And logistically, just as much as I haven't been able to record, I also haven't had any time or bandwidth to look at social media in any regard. And I think everybody needs to take some time to do that, because my God, man, like after taking so much time off and then you come back and it's like, I don't need this. I'll back away for a little while,
That's why, whenever I did radio with Eric, he showed up at the station. He's like, do you have a personal Twitter account? I was like, nope.
Yeah.
I said, I got rid of that a long time ago.
Yeah.
And I deleted the app.
Yeah.
And until somebody parody accounted me, which was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my life. And then, just having it, I've got to the point where I go and I look up mostly just results or like searching rumors and that sort of thing for sports and like seeing reactions. Like I stay away from, you and I have muted quite a bit of, not people, but a lot of hashtags, a lot of keywords, because our account is set up such that we want to engage with Atlanta United fans about Atlanta United.
Right. And we're not a political podcast. I'm not here to, and that's not to say anything about people that want to involve politics and sports or whatever. That just our opinions on politics or where we stand is irrelevant, in our opinion, based on the content that we put out.
Yeah, I am not a jack of all trades, master of none. Jack of some trades, master of none type of thing. Like I don't feel qualified to talk about a lot of things.
I've seen you jack some trades.
My fantasy football league? Yeah. Yeah. That's how I ended up picking up Matt. No, that was a waiver wire. Some guy at work was being really dumb, dropped Matt Ryan after like a bad week. Where were we getting at? Oh, you're talking about getting off of Twitter and the refresh. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, that's it is nice. It is nice to take that little break from there.
And luckily with the team not having but just the couple of matches, it's been an easy way to tune out as well. It was a good time to not have to be so plugged in to everything.
Yeah, that is nice. But now you got to plug back in.
Yeah, I mean,
I got to give you the blue pill.
It's pretty cool though. I mean, I'm really excited. We've got 2 games in hand, which is awesome. You've been reminding me all season about games in hand.
Do we have 2 games in hand on New York City?
Huh?
We only have 1 game in hand on I feel like they're playing a game every other day, and we've
got one on Wednesday against FC Cincinnati. I was looking at it just a little while ago. We have
you were just
we have 1 game in hand on NYC.
We do have a game in hand on,
which means NYC. We can take first place, which is awesome.
And Chris Fillingham,
everybody, make sure you remind me about games in hand.
Yeah, Chris Fillingham, we missed you too, man. We missed all you guys. Oh man. Okay, so let's talk about the hot button issue, I guess, from Saturday.
Oh, sorry.
Have we not recorded since we won U.S. Open Cup? We did.
I don't remember.
We did, right?
I don't.
Maybe
remember.
We didn't. I don't.
It's all a blur.
Yeah, we're definitely getting off the protest. This is not the show for that. I don't know if there is a show on the Atlanta United circuit that's really going to cover in that much depth.
Maybe for the culture.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean, they had a take on the whole last issue and everything that happened last time.
So bigger issue for me Saturday is hoping that my boy, grown ass man Miles Robinson, bounces back from what was arguably the worst game that he's had in terms of unfortunate events that transpired during the game. It happens.
Yeah,
it happens to the best of them. So I would say the second goal and third goal were definitely on him. The second goal, I think, again, this happens pretty much in every league. I mean, I woke up Saturday morning to watch the Liverpool game, and Trent Alexander-Arnold, who's one of the best right backs in the world, gives up too much space in that same way that Miles Robinson gave up just too much space and didn't. As a defender, you're not supposed to stab, right? You're supposed to get between the guy and the goal and try and get him to play into a mistake and then tackle the ball away from it. But he gave him too much space. The same thing happened, like watching Trent Alexander-Arnold gave him the same space to Yetro Willems and pretty much the same goal from the opposite side. It happens to anybody. I think that he got a little too comfortable, and I think he's probably going to snap back from that. I think in a lot of ways, this will define our season the way that he responds from Saturday. I know that sounds like an overreaction, but he's been our rock throughout the entire season in the back. He's been unbelievably reliable in both, chasing down attackers, being able to play passing lanes, getting in and intercepting balls, winning 50-50 balls, just being the all-around standout defender that he has been. He's a young guy. I really hope Greg Berhalter didn't break him whenever he went away on U.S. men's national team duty. And I think the way he bounces back, I think in a lot of ways is going to define, the rest of our season.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't want to say it before, but right now we're sitting in third. Even with the game in hand, we can't take first. I'm willing to say DeBoer out at this point, I think. No.
Yeah. I mean, and to JG's point, I mean, Miles Robinson is 22 years old. He's going to bounce back completely fine. Yeah. At least I expect him to bounce back fine.
Well, the problem that he's going to have is the same problem that the rest of the team's going to have, which is the compressed schedule in these last 6 or 5 matches, which
season ends middle of October?
Beginning of October.
Beginning of October?
Yeah.
The 15th, somewhere around there is our first playoff game, right?
Yeah.
Which we clinched. That was positive news. At least the team tried to spin it in a good way. We got an email after the game but Orlando.
It wasn't because of our result.
Yeah, because of the draw in Orlando between them and New England, we ended up clinching a playoff spot. So, there's that.
Ooh, Joe Johnstone with the real questions. Does Arby's do a beef and cheddar box? They do need to do a box like the Taco Bell box, that they have like 6 items for $5,
Oh,
it's like, you get churros and a grilled stuffed burrito and a Crunchwrap Supreme and a chalupa and a drink for $5.
What if you did a Crunchwrap Supreme or the Crunchaweezy? What's the Crunchaweezy? The chalupa.
Oh, the grilled cheese.
The
chalupa?
cheesy gordita crunch.
Well, they've got the grilled cheese chalupa or whatever, like the shell's made out of.
Are you serious?
Cheese? Yeah.
I haven't been to Taco Bell in so long. Actually, I take that back. It was like a couple weeks ago. But
what were we talking about?
Talking about substituting the ground beef in a Taco Bell taco
for beef and cheddar.
For the roast beef from Arby's.
Yeah, but then you take that first bite and you pull out the ribbon of you just have this roast beef noodle that just slops
with a horseradish sour cream in there. God, that would be
just
good.
That pocket of horseradish cream at the bottom of your grilled stuffed burrito. It's like
really spicy.
It's like an icing piping bag of horseradish cream in the bottom of your grilled stuffed burrito. Oh, it's disgusting. Good God. So, it's a really compressed schedule going into the last 5 matches.
People in the trap trying to somehow start some shit about how Joseph's goal was an own goal. No. It was absolutely Joseph's goal. We can't have that happen. We can't have
the league can't have it happen.
The record books overturning that now.
The league's like, no, we won't VAR that. Let's just let it go. We need it. We need it for the ratings.
Yeah. No, exactly. And speaking of which, we were talking about potential ratings between Atlanta United versus LA Galaxy in a final last night. How about them dropping 7 goals on KC last night?
Zlatan getting a hat
trick. He got a
trick.
hat trick. He's only, what is he, like 3 goals behind Carlos Vela? It's a pretty
2
tight
now.
It is you're right. It's Vela at 28, Zlatan at 26, Joseph's at 24, and then the next down is 9 behind. Diego Rossi has 15.
Luckily, Atlanta has FC Cincinnati, and this Wednesday, knock on wood, is a great game both for Miles Robinson to bounce back. You get LGP back, and a game that you could conceivably see Joseph score a brace or a hat trick against a very, very down in the dumps FC Cincinnati team.
Yeah, you say that, but at the same time, we were going up against a Columbus team who had lost 4 or 5 straight games. They're the second worst team record-wise in the East. It was not necessarily... what I fear about this is it felt like we were playing to our level of competition and we got stifled. Granted, as you said, And as people in the trap have said, LGP did some LGP shit, got suspended for this game.
Also coming off of a long break. And
true.
The announcers made note of that a couple of times. This all sports and all teams, Atlanta included in that, they play better when they're playing with consistency and they're playing on a regular schedule and a regular form. And this team has had a pretty good amount of time off from having to play. That's going to
ring rust, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
But the problem is, I think that had Columbus played during the international break when we hadn't?
I don't know.
I don't think that they had. So it's not like they were coming into this fresh and like in form and in rhythm and all that. I make no excuses
feel like that
for
game was a 1-1 game. I mean, the own goal is unfortunate, but across the board, I don't think Atlanta wildly outplayed Columbus, and Columbus, I don't think outplayed Atlanta to what the scoreline presented at the end either.
No, Tony Neitzel taking the words out of my mouth. He said, "We still have no excuse for that match. We had a solid starting 11.
I mean, it doesn't matter, guys. We have a game in hand.
Let's talk about the goal, though. I mean, the ball up from Emerson Hyndman, and then the ball in from Petey into Joseph.
God,
it was beautiful.
The turn by Petey.
It was so good. I'm a big fan of, obviously it didn't turn out too well for us, so maybe I shouldn't say that, but I'm a big fan of having Emerson Hyndman and then also having Darlington Nagbe on the pitch together.
Yeah.
Just the amount of playmaking that it gives you and the control that it gives you in the midfield. It's just hard, though.
That was the first game that we've lost at home where Eric Remedi's been starting.
Is it really?
Uh-huh. We have not lost a game at home with Eric Remedi starting until
that's crazy.
Past weekend. Yeah.
Oh, that is very crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that. You know what else is crazy? We only have 3 thumbs up. Smash that like button, guys. How come you haven't smashed the like button? Let me press that.
It's only touching my computer.
Yeah, it's done. It is done. That's not a computer. That's an iPad.
Oh, semantics.
I'm a computer. I'm a learning computer.
Help computer. I mean, my mom got one. We put some games on it, and
Michelle with the TMZ type shit saying apparently Nagbe is off to Columbus. His house is up for sale.
Really?
Maybe he just wants to move further out or move somewhere else in Atlanta. There's a lot of houses available, Michelle. Maybe he just wants to move the family to a better
Michelle,
school.
but mortgage rates are at a 10-year low right now. Everyone should be buying houses right now.
Yeah. Especially in mine and Kevin's neighborhood. You guys should be buying all the houses.
Above asking.
That's the only way to get houses whenever the market is this low.
You buy
above
high,
asking.
sell low.
Yeah, exactly. If you do it at a high enough volume, it makes sense. It's the Amazon model.
Yeah, you buy high with a low rate so that you can sell high at a low rate.
I don't think you see the interest rates whenever you sell your house, dude. I don't know if it works like that.
You do pass off that fucking 6% cut though, which sucks.
Yeah. Not if you go with Rhonda Duffy, Duffy Realty of Atlanta.com, 1/2 of 1% plus $500 down.
The buyer and seller take home is like the STDs of real estate. It's just like it just keeps getting passed on to the next person. It's the what's the one that guys have that they don't show symptoms of? HPV. it's
LGP.
It's the LGP.
They got LGP. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard they got a vaccine for LGP these days, but
yeah, yellow cards makes it go away. Makes it go away, but it'll come back.
All right,
we'll have an LGP flare up this week against FC Cincinnati. I'm fully expecting an LGP flare up this Wednesday against Cincinnati.
It's not about curing it; it's about suppression. That's what.
I mean, you're always going to have to live with it.
That's what I learned for God. Those herpes commercials whenever we were kids on like daytime TV.
Yeah.
It's not about curing it. It's about suppressing it. Is this an ad for the Catholic Church?
I wish Jay would make a testimonial video in like black and white. But it's cut like one of those medical commercials.
It's just like,
are you living with LGP? It just shows the ref throwing up a yellow card.
Oh, God.
now there's a way to not cure, but to suppress. Too much LGP
for only 5 yellow cards a month.
Ruining your run of play. There's no.
Oh, this is sexy FDB. If you have chronic plaque psoriasis, FDB or LGP
may work for you. Ask your line judge.
Get to your line judge about Villalba.
Oh, Villalba gets some play time this week. Speaking of which,
he did.
A fan favorite as the.
Let's cheers it real quick. Cheers to Carl's point. This is the widest or wildest spread of topics. Joe Johnstone says, "Hold on, sexy FDB time."
All right,
it's time. Let's see if I can make this work the first time.
I don't know if you heard, but Frank DeBoer just released a statement about the loss about an hour ago, about why we really lost the match on Saturday night. And he really just said it came down to he was just so dang sexy that our players lost focus after the international break because they came back and realized, dang, I want to be as sexy as that man. Anyway, hope you guys have a good night. Bye.
That's definitely what it was.
I will say that I have never worn a shirt that makes me that feels as good or feels as well fitting as any shirt that Frank DeBoer ever put on.
Yeah. What do you think it smells like?
Oh,
what do you think Frank DeBoer smells like?
Dutch oven. Either that or Dutch rudder. Either
set
way,
that one up for you.
Yeah, exactly.
What?
Frank FDB Dutch oven.
Yeah.
That's
another one. You do like a as seen on TV commercial, like a set and forget it kind of thing for a Dutch oven, but in front of like a live studio audience. It's just all the players. You got Darren Eales up there.
Somebody that's good with like deep fakes needs to do a Ronco commercial, but with Frank DeBoer.
Oh my God.
So the big elephant in the room that we really haven't talked about much, if at all, has been the Miles Robinson own goal. It was pretty shocking.
Yeah.
It was obviously a mishit. It seems like he knew the position that he was in and just seemed like a pretty bad mishit.
Yeah.
And that's when the stadium started to empty.
Yeah.
And that has been, at least in the silo that I've seen it in between a couple people that started the topic on it.
Go ahead. Sorry.
It has been a very divisive topic. Divisive.
Yeah.
About whether or not it's ever okay to leave the game early.
Yeah. Let me maybe rephrase this or reposition.
It never starts. That's never the good.
No.
No offense.
No. It's
not to be a dick.
It's not going to be anything like that. Fans have shown disinterest in the performance of this club on multiple occasions this season, in the form of leaving early and booing the coach, which also ended up being a voice of dissatisfaction with the players as well in some regard. If given the choice between walking out or booing, because fans are going to be upset, they're going to be frustrated. I don't expect to fix that problem or come up with a real solution other than, stand and stay for the full 90 as I try to. Honestly, the only times I leave is whenever we're winning. I've not been one to leave whenever we're losing, but if you had to choose between booing or walking out early, which would you?
I think you kind of live in my brain sometimes because you were out on the golf course today. Neither of us had talked to each other today, but part of me was thinking them leaving early doesn't give them the ability to voice their dissatisfaction. And it's gotten, I mean, whether it was people yelling at FDB during the beginning of the season, whenever they were being very uncouth to both him and to Joseph Martinez and just to the team in general. I think it probably is better for morale if people are leaving versus booing.
Yeah.
If those are the two options.
Yeah.
You know, as Will Bowron said, it's like, are neither of those options?
Yeah, exactly.
It's going to happen. I mean, let's be honest. Have you ever watched a blowout in a sporting event and not seen the stadium, a home team get blown out, I should say, and not seen the stadium start to empty a little bit?
Oh, all the time.
First, it is not to be in defense of people leaving early for traffic, but getting out of Mercedes-Benz on a 70,000 day game is not easy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying to leave early to beat traffic. I just want to make that clear. But I can't slate anybody for doing that.
Yeah. To the point of, if neither is an option, obviously that's the way to go. Then it would be leaving early. Then it would be like booing would be the last resort for me. The only argument I can make for leaving early, and this sets aside anything about, you need to be there for a full 90 if you're going to weigh in on some opinion about where the club is at and what it means to support this team and yada, yada, yada. It's a whole other topic of discussion, but the only sort of validation I can give in that leaving early, aside from the fact that obviously it's going to be disappointing for the players and stuff like that, is when does it occur, and is it possible to bring it back? And at the point where Miles Robinson scores that own goal, it's so late in the game and you're 2 goals down and haven't shown any signs of making any actual comeback attempt at that point anyway. It's tough for me to get too emotionally involved in that or take some hardline stance on it in the same way that I did with the booing earlier in the season, where that really rubbed me the wrong way.
So, yeah, no, I agree wholeheartedly. I still stand by. I don't think you boo your players,
because I can at least make an argument for leaving early that I can't make for booing.
And so there's a couple streams of consciousness to kind of piece together here in talking about 45,000 fan games versus 70,000 fan games. And this may be part of the result. So JG saying 45,000 is, are better than the 70,000 games. And then Coach Steve saying to me, seriously, it's the difference between being a quote unquote supporter and quote unquote observer. I mean, I wasn't there to see how empty the stadium got after Miles scored that own goal, but I mean, is it a matter of just there being an influx or overflow of non quote unquote diehard fans that were there? That
like
kind of
how many of those
stadium.
People were there just on a weekend
to
go because it's at that, like, was that showing more indicative of the size of the crowd and maybe the people that were there rather than a lack of interest or a lack of support from the 30,000 season ticket holders or whatever it may be? Yeah,
I agree. And Brian, I agree with this too. I don't, so Carl Segge, Newcastle fan, was saying something to the effect of, whether we're up by 4 or losing by 42, I'll stay for the match. And that's you as a diehard. I mean, and he said you don't see it in Europe, but to Will's, or no, who was it? It was Brian. He was saying, I see it at the end of every 2-goal deficit home loss in the Premier League. I do too. I see lots of fans bailing on matches towards the end of the game. It's like the end of a American football game, NFL game. If there's 2 minutes left and the other team is driving and has the ability to kneel the ball, or if the game is out of reach and your team is just kind of playing out, kind of running through the motions to play the game out. I mean,
while I can make all of these points of interest and statements across the board from a generalized standpoint, I think what's the most disheartening is the accounts that people are mentioning of the supporter section clearing out early.
Yeah.
Like that, those are people that are quote unquote the diehards. Like we're talking about in a very general sense about 70,000 people, and not every one of them is going to be a diehard, but the people that are there filling out the supporter section should be that example of what it means to be a diehard supporter. And for them to clear out, that is very frustrating to me to hear that took place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely disheartening. To Michelle's point, she's brought it up a couple times, and she was saying it's just the timing of it makes it worse, just because it was right after Miles scored that own goal, and what if he looked up, sees the fans clearing out for that? It's tough.
I can't defend it, across the board, but I can understand that more so than I can booing. But
I'd asked on Twitter people's thoughts about the past weekend and thoughts going into Cincinnati. Chris Fillingham at our big time Bama fan at Chris Fillingham in the trap, just asking in general, are we going flat?
I don't think so.
Did we peak too early?
I don't think so. I think this team is going to ramp up. I think that first is out of reach at this point. I don't see us
game in hand, bro.
I don't see us beating NYC in this weekend.
They're the best team. I said this yesterday to our buddy Christian, who's a Red Bulls fan. I said NYCFC are the best team in MLS right now.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a better team. I don't think LAFC beats them right now if they play head to head in a one match or a single elimination match.
So I don't see us beating them. Philly, we've talked about them maybe dropping. You see them drawing LAFC this past weekend. You could easily see them holding on to second place. You've got Toronto nipping at Atlanta's heels right now with the potential to jump us if we don't get results. And with the games that we have yet to play, I think we pick up an easy 3 points against Cincinnati. I think we drop 3 against NYCFC. Who else do we have at the back end of that? New England. We end on. I think we potentially could drop that game if they stay as hot as they have been.
I think they've cooled off a decent amount, right? I mean, they lost to NYCFC. They drew Orlando. They're not the team that came in on that 8-match hot streak, whatever it was, whenever Bruce Arena came in. But at the same time, they aren't anybody to sneeze at, I guess.
Yeah. So I don't know where this team ends up at. I don't think that we're flat.
Oh, we have San Jose also. Yeah.
I don't think we're flat, but I'm not so quick to say that we're still trending in a manner that convinces me that Atlanta will take the first or second spot right now. I think third or fourth is a likely and reasonable expectation right now.
So to piggyback off of this, Chiefs coach Steve, what is his Twitter handle? I think it's just that, right? It's Chiefs Steve. Kind of similar in that same vein. If the tank was that empty after the international break, can we recharge enough to make a lengthy one and done run in the playoffs?
What do you think?
I think so. I think a lot of it's contingent on Barco getting back and seeing, again, no excuses about the match on Saturday, but seeing LGP reintegrated with that back line, I think is going to be kind of huge going into the home stretch.
Do we have a timeline on Barco right now?
Not that I know of. I haven't seen anything to that effect. Anybody in the trap know otherwise? I haven't paid a ton of attention today, but going into the match on Saturday, the last we had heard was that he was still dealing with that muscle injury.
Yeah. So, I don't know when he may be back. And it may not be until playoffs at this rate,
Yeah. I don't know. And then what about Bello? Where's Bello at?
Where's Bello?
Where is Bello?
I don't know.
Was he in the 18?
I have a feeling that we may not see Bello start or get much, if any, play time until next season at this rate.
At least with the first team.
I don't think it makes much sense whenever you've got Parkhurst, Pogba, LGP, Miles Robinson, Escobar. Why throw in a player that got one game of playtime this season with the first team? Right now, I think Bello is all but a next season prospect.
Yeah, that's what Bill Walron. Will Balron saying at this point Bello is a 2020 player. Yeah, a playoff depth. That is a good question. Joe Johnstone asking whether or not
As a
Bello
sub,
has
it just
playoff
depends
depth.
on what happens with the rest of the players.
Good thing is LGP avoids a yellow card this match. It's 5 yellows, right, for accumulation.
Yeah,
he avoids this one. He can yellow the rest of the games of the season.
He ain't gonna avoid it.
No,
you know it. I know.
LGP gonna LGP.
Yep,
and it's gonna happen.
Do you suffer from early onset LGP? LGP.
Do you make
too?
Do you make rash tackles and forget that it happened?
And then you just show him like doing
getting incensed with the ref.
And then it fades to
Do
black
you
and
pinch
white.
your fingers?
And it fades to black.
Do you talk with your hands at the referee?
Oh man!
What are the symptoms of LGP? I want to know the side effects. The side effects of Villalba.
Do you leave
the
your
only
back
treatment for
line
LGP
completely exposed to the counter attack? Do you overly commit to challenges far too much upfield?
Do you often find your legs outstretched? You may have early onset LGP. What does adult onset LGP look like? Or what is?
We'll find out in 3 years. It's just
type 1 LGP.
We got full blown LGP.
Oh God.
Oh man, that's great. That's really good.
Yeah, Brian. Another symptom is intense indignation at being carded. Yes. That is absolutely true. Okay, so the other little tidbit. Let's get into this. John P on Twitter, ATLUTD17 somehow got that handle. Must have got that early. Need to use Cincinnati to get Joseph 4 goals to tie it up with Vela.
I think he gets at least a brace.
At this point, the way that we played against Columbus, I don't think anything's guaranteed.
You don't think this team's going to play with a chip on their shoulder coming out of that game?
Granted, it was a different Cincinnati team when we played them, but they drew us at home. I mean, it's
a different Atlanta team than we played then.
It was a very different Atlanta team. It's true.
Very different.
Sorry, I have to address this. Carl Segi saying type 2 LGP is Pepe. Do you know who Pepe is?
Yeah.
Center back from Portugal. Yeah, that's absolutely correct.
Type 2 LGP. I think that's what Dan's got.
Or Nigel de Jong.
Dan's got type 2 LGP. Or is his type 1? I can never remember. I'm pretty sure he's got type 1.
He's got early onset LGP.
He's got type 1 LGP.
Yeah.
It's genetic.
Going into Cincinnati, though, I feel good about the game. Don't get me wrong. Like, I feel like it's a good, as you said, it's a good game for Miles Robinson to bounce back. It's a good team for a good game for Atlanta United to get some confidence back. I don't think we've lost our mojo. I don't necessarily think we peaked early. I think we underestimated the hell out of Philadelphia. And then going in at home, we haven't lost at home in a long time. And Columbus is nothing if not capable. They're a team that's absolutely underperforming their talent level, at least in my opinion. They showed it early on in the season that they were a team that looked like they were set to compete for one of the top 3 positions in the East. They faltered, obviously, but Gyasi Zardes had enough of everybody's shit on Twitter and was like, all these Atlanta United fans that are talking shit about me during they
had nothing to fucking lose
during these friendlies.
Man.
He's like, he had a hell of a goal too.
Yeah,
I mean that rebound that he hit in was pretty sublime.
You put it where nobody was going to get.
Yeah, no, you couldn't get that. Yeah, not even Alec Can could have stopped that.
Debatable.
Yeah, that's true. Tim Backus would have got that. That's the name that came up on the radio show the other night.
God.
Yeah, whenever we were talking about draft picks or talking about the first players that were on Atlanta United. It was like Tim Backus, Villalba, Kenwin Jones, and Jeffrey O'Toole.
Fucking Kenwin Jones, yeah.
Yeah.
What a dud that ended up being.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think everybody had like revisionist history about how good Kenwin Jones was at Stoke City and Sunderland. Or either that or was like he was okay in the Premier League. Maybe he's gonna like stand out, be great. I mean, Bradley Wright Phillips is definitely the model you should not look at whenever you're looking at players from England, because he came from like League One Charlton and he was like the underperforming son of Ian Wright, and he's like, let's take a flyer on him, and he turns out to be one of the greatest strikers in MLS history. It's like, okay, let's go get some more League One guys or some more championship guys, and no, it definitely didn't. Yeah, it definitely didn't work out. We had a Swiss Army knife in Chris McCann, though.
That's true. We did.
That man was nothing if not a Swiss Army knife.
Yeah.
He could play in whatever position he was asked. He wasn't great at any of them.
It's true.
But he was serviceable in a couple.
He'd do it.
Yeah. What do we got in the trap? Yeah, LA Beaven saying Zardes is MLS quality. That's true. So Kendrick sent something to the Slack earlier, and I completely forgot to take a look at it. He said, did y'all talk about Philly not using any of their charter flights and no plans to use them either? You just saved me the time of reading through that article. I appreciate it. No, that is some cheap shit. That's some Kansas City Royals, Pittsburgh Pirates level shit. Like,
why?
That's saving money, man. It's cheaper to fly commercial than to charter those flights. Or to take. Do MLS teams take buses?
You think Bedoya or make a corner flag statement about that? Philly, fix your charter flight situation now.
Be enough to make me do that. Michelle saying Rooney said today. I did see this headline. He said that MLS players are underpaid. And what was interesting is the first reaction I saw was like, coming from a guy who's overpaid. It's like, there are some guys on these teams that are making like $60,000 and $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
And that's nothing. Like, one of my friends from college, Angela Salem, who has played all over NWSL, played in Australia and Finland, and like, they have to take second jobs. Yeah. They have to have day jobs to play professionally in that league.
Yeah.
And then you step up to MLS, and there are certain guys. Obviously, there are some big earners in MLS. That's why the DP rule exists. That's why TAM exists. But there are guys that fill out your roster that are.
Oh yeah,
they're making.
I mean, go look at Atlanta United's roster right now. Go pull it up, and I think you'd be shocked to see who's making what in this lineup. That's going out making big plays. Look at how much Miles Robinson's making. You want to talk about?
Yeah.
Like, as much as we talk about Miles Robinson week in, week out, go look at where he sits on the salary cap. I'm willing to bet it's the lower quarter of that salary.
But thanks to the lack of transparency that I hope goes away in the CBA negotiations in January, we won't really know salary numbers until the end of the year. Like, they don't really usually disclose that stuff until the end of the year, unless they've done it earlier on this year. So Kendrick saying get Gressel his bag. I agree. What was the stat? Who was it that? So Elliot's asking who the lowest paid player for Atlanta is. There was some stat of somebody. Jose Hernandez makes more money per year, I believe, than Julian Gressel. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the stat. Talk about a really bad comparison. Yeah, that's
all right. I'm pulling it up on Denver Post right now. This is 2019, but it'll be a good.
It's 2019. That's this year.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh yeah, because it's got Dion on here. Let's see here. I'm trying to find where Miles Robinson. Hey, he makes a pretty good chunk. Base salary for Miles Robinson is 145. But then you look at some other players like George Bello making 75, Gian Pereira making 56. I'm trying to see who's like, you know what's crazy to me? That Julian Gressel is is paid less than Miles Robinson. And he's been here. I know it's because of the
draft stats,
his draft and all of that, but like, that's so crazy to me.
But that's why Julian Gressel was at Loggerheads, his management team, at least from my understanding.
Even better is that Breck Shea made almost as much as Julian and Miles Robinson combined.
That's a product of him playing in England for a while and coming back.
And crazier still is that Pogba makes $300,000.
Yeah, that is pretty crazy.
Pogba makes as much as Franco Escobar, as much as Michael Parkhurst, as much as Eric Remedi, more than Breck Shea. I forget that Kevin Kratz is still on the roster. More than Jeff Lorenowitz, twice as much as Miles Robinson. Yeah.
You know what's crazy though?
Almost 3 times as much as Gressel.
You know what's crazy is how much at least I feel, and this is obviously opinion and conjecture, but I feel like if the salary cap restrictions were lifted or they were extended, I feel like Atlanta United would be paying those players a lot more money because it's so interesting the way that this team fills out, how much merch it sells, how much return on investment essentially that Arthur Blank and his crew are getting from this team. And then to think about their salaries in relation to what other like league minimums are.
Do you know how much they make off of all the, identity stuff?
Identity stuff?
Yeah.
LifeLock?
You know what? Yeah. LifeLock. No, I mean,
you're talking about likenesses.
Yeah. That's the word I was looking for. Does Joseph make money off of every Joseph Martinez kit that gets sold?
I don't know. But I would presume
all the Joseph like golden boot shirts that came out last year.
I would presume yes, or assume yes, because they're just thinking about other leagues. Like in the NBA, like when LeBron changes his number every year, he buys back all the jerseys from the. He buys a lot of them back, or like spends a lot of money buying back.
Interesting.
I don't know if it's coming from him or if it's coming from Nike or whomever, but and I think I've seen that happen in the EPL. And
you know what does make me feel a bit better though right now about this whole PT Martinez signing is that I know it was a huge
transfer
fee, but his base salary is $900,000.
He's not even making $1 million a year.
He's not even making $1 million. Yeah. Barco's making 1.4. Joseph making 3. Like, I'm okay with Pity sitting at 900 right now, considering what he's done so far.
Yeah, that's what's crazy about a lot of those like bigger signings. Like they spend a ton of money just to negotiate with the player to bring them over to their team.
Now the crazy thing is because we got Miram for a steal, right? Wasn't his wasn't it?
It's like draft picks in GAM or something.
$150,000 in GAM, but his salary is still $650,000.
Yeah,
that's weird.
Yeah, it's very weird.
It's interesting to see.
But at the same time, like this whole single entity thing with MLS, I think most of the contracts, I think, has a lot to do with it.
Yeah,
it's
and just so if everybody wants to know where this is coming from, this is coming from Denver Post, which is MLS salary figures released by MLS Players Union as of June 1st, 2019. That's where this is coming from. So it's fairly recent.
Michelle said there's a great article in The Athletic with Joseph. He talks about moving his grandma here and having to support his whole family and how he gets a bonus every time he scores. And Brian obviously is correct when he says, I think it was like for a 5 for 5 beef and cheddar coupon. It's true. Do you remember when Arby's doesn't have the 5 for 5 anymore, do they?
You're welcome.
It's your fault. Yeah. God, dude. I can't tell you.
Cross to bear.
Yeah. You remember how like Sonic had the brown bag special?
Brown bag special puts that 5 for 5 to shame.
You shut your mouth.
5 full Sonic burgers for $5. Like that's an insane amount of food.
That wasn't the brown bag special though. That was a 5 for 5. No, the brown bag special was 2 Sonic burgers. It was 2 and
I was talking about the Tuesdays where you got the
when
5 for 5.
Yeah,
and I would just line them up on my arm whenever I was having to address those things.
Yeah, Brian's adolescence was littered with Arby's coupons, as was ours, and that $10 buy one get one free thick burger card that we had from Hardee's.
Oh, you guys didn't see my new kit, by the way. I didn't
Kevin is rocking our alma mater, Lakewood Gators. This is the for those of you watching on the YouTube stream.
Dope,
again,
right?
if you guys are watching with us still an hour in, thank you. We love you guys. Yeah, he's wearing our Lakewood Gators JV. I want to say it's like a 2002 JV team.
Pretty legit.
Yeah.
I dig it.
Absolutely. All right.
Anything else? As we wrap it up.
I meant to ask you, Angie brought this up the other day. How's the Hornet coming along?
I have one last payment to the mechanic to get it up and running. I've paid for all the parts and 75% of the labor. So I have one payment left for a couple $100, and
that's awesome.
They'll turn it back over to me.
Kevin's
body work and all that.
Kevin's first car.
I'm gonna wear this whenever I take it for
was
a ride.
It was an AMC.
Then it's gonna be like a green screen effect because it's green with green interior. So you're just gonna see a floating head inside the car.
Yeah. He had a 1975 green AMC Hornet. I remember telling my dad, he's like, why did he buy an AMC?
The thing is so great, dude.
The thing is a solid steel box.
So great.
You can take a head-on collision with a tractor trailer and be fine with that thing.
Yeah.
They don't make them like that anymore. Domer Donaldson just sent this to me. It was an article on Atlanta United's website. It's just nice to see. Just a really nice.
I think they retired mine.
Really nice shot of.
That is really great.
Yeah, really nice shot of Angie's Kings of the South King Peach flag flying in the supporter section. That's awesome. It's always good to see it. Thanks to Terminus Legion as always for flying that at games.
I'm convinced that they had to retire the Unite flag. And it makes me sad.
Was there a Unite flag sighting this weekend? No.
I've looked at it. I've looked for it every game since all this political stuff has happened because it's not a political statement in any way.
No, it's absolutely not a political statement. It actually goes counter to both things.
Things take on a life of their own.
Brian says he wants a Pukki kit. So Timu Pukki is a Finnish striker for Norwich, and he's amazing. Gotcha. They took down Man City on Saturday, and it was my heart just melted.
How good did it feel to take down Miggy this weekend? By the way, are you proud? Are you happy with yourself?
Yeah, yeah. All I care about is that Mane and Salah made up.
Can we all just talk about how glad I am that Miggy shaved his head and has just embraced it?
Yeah. Congrats on winning the title too. No, the Pookie thing, all that makes me think of, like, I wanted to post, but I can't find a GIF of it. Did you ever watch Harold and Kumar? The first one? All right. Well, there's a part where they pull up to a
White Castle.
I actually don't think maybe it was the White Castle that Anthony.
That's the first one.
No, they don't actually pull up to a White Castle. I think they pull up somewhere else, and Anthony Anderson's working the drive-through, and he just has like a break from reality. And I guess his coworker's name is Pookie, and he's like, "All right, Pookie, let's burn this motherfucker down." He just starts throwing everything everywhere, and I want to find that clip and put Pookie's head on it.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
right.
That's a good name.
That's a good one.
But that's somebody's last name is Pookie.
Yeah,
Pukki.
Pukki. That sounds great.
Yeah. All right. You want to shut it down? You want to wind down? You done?
I'm
yeah.
done.
Your little eyes are rolling in the back of your head.
I'm done, dude. It's been a long couple of weeks. I'm ready to get some night. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in with us tonight, tomorrow, whenever it was, whether on YouTube, iTunes, wherever you found us at, Pocket Cast, Stitcher.
Yeah.
Other hot button locales. Yelp, maybe.
Can somebody make us a Yelp page? Actually,
MySpace.
Dude, we should start.
I have wanted to start this research. Everything old becomes new again.
Yeah.
And I have wanted
MySpace is the vinyl of the internet.
No, not MySpace. I want to take on the task of, because our website, we've talked about how we need to update it, blah, blah, blah. I just want to make like a Angel Fire type,
God,
like that style website for our website, where it's just a bunch of flash animations and just black background with like green Comic Sans. I want to see a resurgence of website formatting back to mid-90s aesthetic. Like that's what I think would fit our brand is to redo our website in that, like, forget all this fucking Squarespace, like have a template. It's got to be all like, just embrace it, be ridiculous. It doesn't fucking load on mobile. You have to boot it up on a desktop because otherwise it's just, you get one letter of one word and the rest of it's all vertical space. It's
thank you, Brian. Brian is always coming through in the clutch.
You guys gonna have to order from the drive-through menu.
What happened to the White Castle?
What? There used to be a White Castle right here in this location. Where is it?
I hate to be the bearer of bad news, guys, but Burger Shack, they bought this.
It's like an 18-minute clip.
Thing I've learned. Come on, Boogie, let's burn this motherfucker down. Let's burn this motherfucker down.
Oh, that's great.
Thank you, Brian. I needed that.
But yeah, I don't know where we started at with the Yelp page. So yeah, however you found us, be sure to leave us a rating, a review, smash a thumbs up, put us in your top 8. Make sure to hit us up on AIM.
Swipe right.
Swipe right. Swipe up.
What if we're going to start using Tinder for business?
Don't they have it set up? Isn't Bumble set up for friends now? We just need to put a home before dark. Like, we'll put a home before dark account on Bumble so people can find out about the podcast for people that want to meet up with other people that like Atlanta United. I think that's a brilliant marketing strategy, Tim. We'll run it up the flagpole and see what HR thinks.
Yeah,
about it.
And Brian says we need to get you the guys that green next door neighbor approved sticker.
I like it. I like it. That's great. So yeah, we're trendsetters. We're gonna have to figure it out. So however you found us, thank you for doing.
We love you guys.
Love you guys. Them 5 stripes is hell. Hoping to get 3 more points on Wednesday. Until then, as always, be home before dark.